let's get to the back and forth between Israel and Iran.
Latest now in the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran. The countries exchanged deadly attacks throughout the weekend. Chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is on the scene in Tel Aviv. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, George. Attacks over the weekend and attacks early this morning. I want to show you the scene here in downtown Tel Aviv. That's where the Iranian missile landed. Just look at the devastation over there in the office block. But if we swing round 180 degrees, you can see these were residential apartment blocks, also devastated in this Iranian attack.
This morning, a devastating strike.
This is pretty crazy to watch.
In the heart of Tel Aviv, an Iranian ballistic missile evading air defense, exploding in a downtown residential neighborhood.
This is one of the apartment blocks that was hit in this, what appears to be a devastating missile attack. You can see this is not a military site, this is a residential site. You can see a children's teddy bear there on the ground, a woman's purse.
Like, can you imagine doing this kind of coverage in Gaza for the past 20 months? Wow. Like, can you imagine doing this kind of coverage in Tehran right now? Nope, not happening. Because remember, in spite of the tit-for-tat, back and forth retaliatory attacks that are taking place that Israel literally started for no fucking reason other than the fact that they're bored, still conducting ethnic cleansing campaigns every day in the Gaza Strip, murdering children, sniping them directly on their way to get a crumb of aid. Make no mistake, that is still happening. And I want to read a take from Mohammed Shahada that I actually retweeted today. What Iran is allowed to do according to Israel's own rules of engagement in Gaza. If a single Israeli reservist or Likud member lives in a high-rise building, or if a single pistol is nearby, knock down the whole thing. If an Israeli reservist is being treated at a hospital, bomb the shit out of it. Since Netanyahu is hiding in an unknown bunker under a densely populated city, drop a bomb every 5 meters indiscriminately until you hit the target. Even if you miss, it's okay. It's the intention that counts. Israel tried to assassinate Ezzaldin al-Haddad 12 times. Each resulted in a massacre. He's still alive. Israelis huddling a shelter. Surely one or two of them must be IDF linked, which they are. There are IDF soldiers in those fucking shelters, of course. So level those places at random. Claim you're aiming at any reservist whose name shows up among the victims. It's an inevitability that you killed 100 people in one strike, that at least one of them would be a rank and file member of something. Issue an evacuation order to 80% of Israel, then bomb at will. Anyone who complains, yelled at them. We told Israelis to move south. Bomb journalists. They're propaganda operatives. Serious Israeli pretext. They have done this, by the way. Bomb humanitarian workers and doctors to starve the population and collapse their health system. Then claim they got in the way or were being used as human shields, or that they were Likud members themselves. Every time you kill a lot of civilians, keep repeating, they voted for a convicted terrorist. Itamar Ben-Gvir. He is a convicted terrorist, by the way. Therefore, they are all guilty. Keep saying, there was a ceasefire on June 12th, and all of this can end now if Israel surrenders and releases the hostages. Bomb power plants, seaports, airports, water stations, sewage plants, and claim they all benefited the IDF since soldiers are humans who use electricity and water. It works for Israel every time. Shoot anyone with a white flag, shoot hundreds of kids in the skull, and call doctors documenting this Likud. Use only bombs that splinter into 10,000 pieces and kill people in a radius of 500 meters at random. Those are literally Israel's rules of engagement in Gaza, and this is barely scratching the surface. I can go all day. P.S. for all the idiots and ding-dongs, this post is sarcastic. I don't approve of violence against civilians under any circumstances. If this post triggered you, blame your darling Israel, not me. These are their rules. For the first time ever, there is some semblance of, like, maybe not parody, but Israel is experiencing some retaliation, minor retaliation, as opposed to never experiencing any retaliation for its fucking incredibly violent actions in the Gaza Strip. Israel never has experienced this level of response from any of the parties in the region that it destroys. Okay? So now that there is like some kind of response, even though the response is super managed, even though the response is super, super restrained in comparison to what Israel has been doing, even in Iran, like imagine if the media covered Iranian actions in the same fucking ways that they cover Israeli actions, as opposed to the humanization of the victims that are, Israeli civilian society, right? Like, think about this. These bombing campaigns, given Israel's tremendous wealth and also opportunity to build shelters and whatnot, and paired up with the fact that Iran has also been restrained in terms of its targeting, like they look at, bombed out homes and go, this is so devastating, when in fact, in normal circumstances, when we're talking about Iran, when we're talking about southern Lebanon, when we're talking about Gaza, there are people in those fucking areas that they are massacring children, overwhelmingly women and children, civilians. And yes, this isn't wrong. Yes, losing your home is devastating. When you lose your home to a fucking bomb is incredibly scary, is incredibly traumatic. But there is no application of this kind of emotional turmoil that Israel puts others through ever. And this is before we even talk about the actual murders that Israel engages in with regular fucking frequency. It is alarming.
Total devastation.
Hundreds of emergency workers flooding the scene, scouring for survivors. Alana Rubenfree was caught in the blast.
When a missile is landing outside your window and you can barely breathe because there's so much dust and debris in the air, it becomes very personal.
And overnight, more Iranian strikes in Israel. Retaliation, it says, for Israel's attack on its nuclear, military and energy infrastructure. This is the latest salvo in a deepening conflict between Israel and Iran.
By the way, the more that these bombing campaigns from the Iranian side see success, the more censorious Israel will get. For those of you who don't know, Israel has a deep military censor, okay? Even when there is no conflict, which there's never no conflict, obviously. Israel's an apartheid state. There's always conflict and there's always violence to maintain that said apartheid state. But like, understand that there is a military censor that is constantly operating, right? And what that implies is like, whenever you see any images coming out of Israel, that means that the Israeli occupying force has okayed this footage, with the exception of like phone camera footage that we see every now and then, which the IDF Central Command has demanded that Israeli citizens stop filming. The reason why they don't want Israelis to film this stuff is because, one, they don't want to reveal battery positions. They don't want to reveal, their defensive measures. The other real reason, the major reason as to why they don't want any of this information coming out, unless it's like something that they can use for propaganda to be like, oh, we're the victims in the situation. Look at them anti-Semitically attacking us, is because people just fucking feel tremendous hope when they see at least like a city block in Tel Aviv resemble a fraction of the fucking pain that Israel has dished out to both Tehran, but also to Gaza, especially Gaza. Like, that's it. They don't like, there's this delicate balance between like how much of the death and destruction, or how much of the destruction, because there's not a lot of deaths, even though there are some casualties. How much of the destruction can we show to the world to garner support and sympathy, while simultaneously not showing so much that like Iran can use it as propaganda, or, people can celebrate and cheer on the toll that Israel has taken for the first time ever. But of course, you can't stop the most human thing, which is if you're an Israeli and you're sitting in your fucking living room and you see missiles being lobbed in your direction, you're going to come out and film it. Okay. That is just how it is. Everybody does that. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but that is a normal part of existence now. Okay. That's just how it is. La, 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 no DMs.